All right.
Are you ready to? All right. All right. Fakakta Comedy Funhouse Network. Welcome to Couch Pilots, the show that dares to fly into the unknown territory of awful television pilots of the past. I am your co-captain, Jason, a.k.a. the Bottle Cap Kid, and sitting directly across from me is my co-captain, Philip Rest Assured. Captain, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful, Captain. Now, if we're both co-captains, so there is no captain, it's strictly right down the middle, 50-50?
I think we have a 50-50 partnership. I'd like to think that we answer to a higher power, and if that person happens to be a just straight captain rather than co-captain, then so be it.
Okay, I just wanted to confirm. I didn't want to step on anybody's toes or anything like that. I didn't want to be the one holding the manual when it should be both of us, each putting a hand on the manual.
Well, you have the right side, and I'll hold the left side.
Of the manual?
Yep.
Okay.
We start off with banter, and usually it
some people that listen to the show say that's they turn it off after we're done with the banter.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Name one person who does that.
Jen Flo.
Oh, well, she will be very upset with this episode. Partly because a lot of times the banter is pretty organic. Today, I feel like we have structured banter. There's a few things we need to hit on.
Sure.
And speaking of, and why is her name Flo? Why is the Flo at the end? It's not because she has her period all the time.
No, it's a secret.
Oh, it's a secret why?
Yeah, we'll have to have her on the show sometime to explain it.
All right. Well, do we have fan feedback?
We on the Mini Monsters episode.
Terrible show.
Terrible show. There was some comments made regarding her feet
During the banter section?
It was kind of a fan feedback / banter section because I read her fan feedback saying how sexy your voice was.
Right. She's not wrong.
And if liking your voice is wrong, I wouldn't want to be right.
Yeah, I second that emotion.
But then I got a message that says OMFG, which means oh my effing God, which is,
It's blasphemy.
Right. You talked about my feet and clitoris. And I don't want to make this a show about sex. I mean, this is a family airline, but...
This isn't sex with couch pilots.
Right.
Like our show Sex with Heather.
And then Jen decided to have a conversation with Miles, who's the stewardess, about how we were talking about how her clit was big. And the stewardess, Miles, she said that we needed to state a retraction. And Jen said, good idea. You need to clear it up. Perfect feet, perfect point.
This sounds less like fan feedback and more just complaining.
Yeah. Typical women stuff. It's like, if you're not going to listen to the whole show.
Yeah, you can't complain. You got to listen to the whole thing. Who's to say during the rest of the show we just didn't talk about how we were joking and how tiny her clit was?
Or how wonderful we thought she was.
Right. And you know what? I defy anyone to have a conversation about feet and not include clits in that same conversation.
Right, exactly. I mean, they go hand in hand.
And I'm so sorry to keep saying the C word, and I don't mean to be. Is clit? Is that a dirty word? Is it more formal to say clitoris?
I think it's if you say clitoris, it's more formal, more the medical terminology.
I want my children and my grandchildren to be able to listen to the show.
Sure.
So I'll say clitoris. I mean, over the weekend, I took my daughter on a shopping spree because it was her birthday, and we go to Payless. Penny. What's that? Payless? Payless shoes? Yeah. It is all shoes in there. So you're going to have conversations about feet. Every person I walked by that was trying on shoes, they're talking about clits too. It's unavoidable.
Right.
Let's not act like we can get away with one without the other, because if not, it's on the forefront of the other person.
Right.
When's he going to mention feet now?
Right.
When's he going to mention clitoris now?
Yeah, like hoof and clit disease.
Exactly.
So, like I said, I said, well, maybe we need to see your clitoris because we state facts on the show.
Right.
And the only way to see if this is a fact or not is to see it.
I think a lot of times we say, go right to fcfnetwork.com, listen to the show, or go in iTunes or your favorite app, and you just type in Couch Pilots. A lot of times people don't see where we're located. If we're under educational or comedy, we're under factual.
Yeah.
It's all facts. There's a whole genre out there of podcasts that are based in facts, and we have nestled safely in that zone because that's all we do on this show is present facts to people. So
whether they're interesting or not is not for us to decide.
That's, you know what? That's its own segment. I don't even want to dip my toes in the waters of facts.
Or your clit.
I don't want to dip my clitoris into the fact pool just yet.
I think, we love fan feedback.
And we love it.
We're not ripping on the fan feedback we got.
Not at all.
But if she would have just not said anything, we wouldn't have had gone on for 6 minutes about this subject and talked about it more.
Let it lie, as they say.
Sure.
If not, you know what? It's back in the frying pan and sizzling right now.
Ooh, ouch.
They say, Jason, you're in your mid-30s. Why aren't you married yet? And I said, I'm just waiting for a sizzling clit. I think that's a good segue.
That's perfect.
Ladies and gentlemen, the captains have turned on the fasten seatbelt sign.
Now, the structured banter that I was mentioning, that was part of it.
Sure.
Part A done.
Part A done. Check.
Part B.
It's like the flight list of all the things we need to go through.
We got to go through everything and then check it off the list.
Banter. Check.
Clit Talk. Which is, watch out for our new podcast, Clit Talk, coming up on FCF Network.
For $15 a month, we'll do that show.
Oh, yeah. We'll do it. This is the part of the show where we talk about what we're doing. So I'm going to tell you what we're doing, and then I'm going to talk about part B of our structured banter, because there's more to this show than the standard issue program you're used to hearing. Sure. So, if this is your first time listening to the show, you're probably thinking, wow, these guys are handsome and smart and cool and sweet. And you would be right to think that.
Check.
Go down that list. Check it off. But we're not just here to be handsome and smart and cool and sweet. We're here to present you with television pilots from the past and maybe the future that never made it past episode 1. Philip and I hate waste so much that we will not let these one-off shows go quietly into the night. We watch them, we break it down, present it to you like a gift, albeit a very narcissistic and unimaginative gift. But we do it. We do it for you.
Sure, we don't do it for us.
We know that no one said, "Hey, there's a gap in content out there where we need to hear." We realize that, okay?
Right.
But we went ahead and done it for you anyway.
Right. We're trying to do something different, interesting that's going to benefit your life. Like, you're going to have a better day knowing whether or not these old pilots are worth going back and watching.
Absolutely, your day will improve exponentially. I really didn't realize the rabbit hole we'd be going down. Oh,
sorry.
What are you drinking?
I'm drinking some hot chocolate. It was hot. John made a hot chocolate. I just saw him down at the tarmac before I came aboard, and he handed me. I've got him into the routine now that he gives me a nice hot piping cup of hot chocolate.
You talking about DS tarmac, John?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was another fan feedback. Was why did he have to have
Down syndrome?
Yes. Why did he have to have that?
I'm like, talk to God. You know what?
Right.
He's got a job. He does it well. He's reliable. Does he have Down syndrome? Yeah.
Do we care?
No.
No. Is this hot chocolate? Yes. That's all that matters.
Are you double fisting hot chocolate and Mountain Dew right now?
Yeah. I'm done with the Mountain Dew. It's past 6 o'clock.
Okay. No dew after 6. Only hot chocolate made by DS. Okay.
DSJ.
I'm sorry, DSJ. It's like Designer Shoe Warehouse. Is that what that stands for?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good wrestling name. DSJ.
Oh, no. Oh, boy. I've got so many images in my mind. I want to move past them. We watched a show for today. We're going to talk about a show. I'm not going to tell you what it is. If you listen, I will in a minute, but if you listen to the previous show, we always have a trailer at the end saying, hey, guess what? We're not done. And in my mind, we'll never be done.
No, this is going to go on forever.
Yeah, I don't plan on living much longer, but until I'm deceased, this is what will happen.
What are you going to die of?
Oh, I'm...
Plane crash?
Plane crash. Yeah, most likely.
Hopefully that's a solo flight.
Comedic colitis.
Of the clitoris?
Sizzling clitoris colitis. Boy, if we didn't have names for the shows already, there'd be one. last week we said, hey, we watched this show. Now here's a trailer for the next show.
Right, because we try to prepare our listeners by giving them, hey, this is the next one we're going to watch. So we understand that you're not going to start listening to the podcast, find out what we're talking about, and then stop and then go watch it.
Right.
So we say, hey, heads up, next week we're going to watch this. When you, at your leisure.
Heads up, 7 Up, you got 7 days. Right?
That's 6. 6
days. Check it out. And last week we're like, hey, we're going to watch that show. It's called American Nuclear.
And I was excited about it.
Me too. It had a young Mark Ruffalo, most famously known as the current Hulk in the Marvel Universe. Mm-hmm. But here he was a child. I don't remember the exact year. I want to say it was like 88, 89. It was obviously in the 80s because we're talking about pilots from the 80s right now.
And we're on season 2.
Because we're on season 2 of our show, which I can't believe we made it past season 1. Just skin of our teats. Skin of our cleats. That's plural for clitoris, right? The cleats. We're really going to have to stop saying that. But I don't know. So we're going to watch American Nuclear. We thought, here's I think it's like a 45-minute. It was kind of a drama. I think there was comedic elements to it. I honestly did not end up even watching it. I saw that it met our criteria. Can you run down what the criteria is real quick?
Sure. Criteria is A, it has to be a failed pilot that did not go to series. That's 1. 2, we needed to be able to find it somewhere on the interwebs. Mm-hmm. And 3, what is 3?
It's free.
That's it.
It's free. Is
3.
Free for 3.
Yep.
Not only did American Nuclear fit that criteria, but all of our shows have so far, and they all will in the future.
Because we owe that to the listeners.
Right. We're not going to say, hey, our show's free, but if you want to, keep step with us, it's going to be $5 for you to watch. Right. We're not going to do that to you. I would never do that.
And I'm not going to say, hey, this show is free. We'll pay the $5
I'm not
for you.
No, there's no chance I'd be paying you. No. I'm already entertaining you.
What else? That would be like we'd have to spend an extra $20 a month for the 4 listeners to watch these things. That's not what we're all about.
Once I know that a show is available, I would get it ready for the trailer for next week, and then I usually sit on it for about a week or so, and then I get everything ready for that program. And then you sent me something that said, "Hey, American Nuclear is no longer available."
Right. I recorded the trailer. The beginning song of it.
Right.
And then I went to sit down and watch it, and it was gone. Again, just like last time when we were Tribe.
The Tribe. That's right. And that was one where you ended up watching it, and I did not, because I had not seen it yet. I was going to watch it the day of, and I was like, hey, I can't find this. Maybe we should do something different. And I said, nope, I'm going to talk about it, and you respond. And I think it ended up with a double biggins, which is our lowest rating possible. It was so bad. So that was 2 or 3 episodes in. We're about 12, 13 episodes in right now, and we were just changing the cultural landscape of television pilots.
Right. I had no idea that this idea that we had was. I didn't have any idea that the idea that we had was going to be so. It's like shifting the world of YouTube, just shifting it.
Yeah, that's right. It's some would say we're helping clearing up the refuse on YouTube, but I think it's just saying, hey, there's a lot of unlicensed. Or there's a lot of licensed stuff out there that people are kind of taking advantage of, and we're just shining such a powerful light on it that YouTube is saying, oh, thank you, Couch Pilots, for helping us clean up the internet. I don't want to help them necessarily, because this is our content, and that's what we're losing.
Right. But it seems like it would be against our better judgment.
It's not in our favor to do this. Right. But American Nuclear, who knows? Maybe someday it'll pop back up. It's not available right now. If it's available later this season, we could check it out again. Or maybe when we come back around after we've gone through all our season, maybe we'll watch it then. Or maybe it's just gone for the ages.
Yep.
We don't know.
And if we would have started this podcast a year ago, we might have saved that concrete of the internet.
That's right.
That little pebble on the internet.
Yeah, maybe so. We don't know, though.
Thank God we did that for Mason.
Yeah, thank God we watched Mason. The bizarre 1970s sitcom with heavy pedophilia themes. So American Nuclear, out.
You go!
Action Family, in.
Bazinga.
Boo Baba. Today is a great day. I have been waiting for this one. Ugly Chris Elliott.
Oh.
His show, Action Family from 1986. Philip, how old were you?
86?
Yeah. 1986.
Right, 1986. Yeah. 75, carry the 1.
Math is tough. I'm sorry to put that on you.
That's all right. I was 14. No, that doesn't make any sense at all.
No.
86.
Well, what year were you born?
I was 11.
1911 you were born,
right. So no,
70.
I was 11. This was 86.
Oh.
And I was born in 75. That's 11.
I was going to take you for your word that you're born in 1911. You do not look, I would say you look great, but now that I know that you're 11 then and doing the math, you do not look great for your age.
I know I don't. I look horrible.
I was born, so I was 5 years old at that time.
Wow. I should just make you do it first and then just add 6.
But see, I'm doing it right now where I listen to you first and then I subtract 6. It's just, you know what? Maybe I should just take a math test after this. Whoever gets the lower score.
Well, I didn't know. I would have turned on the Al Pacino machine.
The Pachinko machine, the Al Pachinko.
Yep.
We do really wear that machine out. We put all of our information goes in there. So we already talked about why we chose it. How about you? Where you, the listener, can find this show?
Yeah.
The show is available through our blue links in our show notes.
Definitely.
You can find these by subscribing to our show through iTunes or your favorite podcast app, and you can also find it by searching Action Family in YouTube.
Sure.
YouTube is our best friend for sure. But yeah, make it easy on yourself. Just go right to our show notes, click through there, boom, you got it.
Mm-hmm. And also in the show notes, we put blue links to actors that we talk about or specific subjects that we talk about.
Yep. So many blue links. Just like if you want to dig into the show a little bit or see some of the things that we've got, click through all of our show notes because there's a ton of great information there. But if you see something that's not a blue link, leave it be.
Well, except for one. There is a red link on our show notes.
I would love to hear why that is.
We will at the end of the show.
Oh my! I'm even in suspense.
Oh, good. That's if I can get you in suspense. Hold on, John. John's. Do you see him out there?
John, get out of the way.
God, he just stands there.
Hold on.
Looks like
John. We're taking off.
What's the sign for takeoff?
You have to wave your hands back and forth. You're doing it. Okay, he's moving. Let's go.
He's a nice guy, but sometimes
he acts so retarded.
Attendants, prepare for takeoff, please.
Whew, he got out of the way just in time. I caught that joke, by the way.
I don't know what you're talking about. Boy, beginning of another smooth flight here.
I love being in the air with you, man.
Just the hair, our hair that we have blowing in the wind. We sometimes put the top down on this thing. Really open her up.
Convertible model.
This is where we take off. This is where we talk about the summary of the pilot. And then there's a section after this called Interesting Facts, but we're going to dig into that in a second. Summary of the pilot, real quick. At work, Chris is a hard-boiled, no-nonsense detective who's investigating a series of brutal murders of jazz musicians. At home, he's a family man straight out of a sitcom who has to satisfy every whim of his wife and kids.
Mm-hmm.
That is... it's a weird juxtaposition there of ideas, and it doesn't even touch at all on the oddities and the bizarre nature of the sitcom.
Right. That's what I would say. You asked me when we were in the captain's room.
Right.
If what I thought of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to save it for the show, obviously, but I couldn't really find the words. But the oddities and the shifts make this an entertaining piece of cinematography.
It's like Weird Al doing a sitcom. It's like a parody of everything that you've classic TV, and both drama, like action television, like a crime show, and a parody of a sitcom, all rolled into one. I think Weird Al would give it a thumbs up.
Oh, definitely. Well, he's busy right now.
He is busy right now. Excuse me. Oh, that's embarrassing. This section now, and I want you to stay seated for this, Blake. It's called Interesting Facts.
Oof. Yes.
I know you don't like the name. I know it doesn't even necessarily ring true to what we're talking about. This is a section where we talk about facts, things that we found out about the show after digging into it. It's called Interesting Facts, but they're not necessarily. We are not going to tell you they're interesting.
Right. We're gonna present them to you on a platter.
Yeah.
Like a nice cheese and meat platter or a nice fruit
sterling
platter.
Silver polished.
Right. We're going to present them to you.
Yeah.
And you're going to decide: A, are they interesting? B, are they true?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're all true.
Yeah, but I mean, even if you want to tell yourself that they're not true, that's your prerogative.
Right,
I don't
like
care.
Jen Flo.
Sure, yeah.
She wants to tell herself it's not true.
This show stars a young, but still the same height, Seth Green. Seth Green, you know from. Oh boy, he's been in a ton of movies over the year. He played a teenager a lot in the '90s because he was
the redhead.
Yeah, the redhead, and he was. I can't think of something. Was he? Oh, he was in Can't Hardly Wait.
Yeah,
he was the gangster kid in that. He is Chris Griffin on Family Guy. He runs, and I think there's a ton of like executive produces maybe the show Robot Chicken on Adult Swim.
Yes,
he is. He is not leading man material, but he has found his niche in Hollywood.
Exactly. He knew he wasn't leading man material, but he found his niche, and he found, hey, these are some other things I can do, kind of like us.
Yeah, we're not going to be in Hollywood anytime soon. Yeah. But maybe you.
We just fly over there.
Well, I mean, yeah, we'll fly over it. Maybe we'll drop some water balloons down. But that'll be it.
Yeah. To dream.
Oh, to dream. We found our niche, though. Also in this, besides Chris Elliott, which honestly I do like, and it will tie into the next person. David Letterman is in this.
Yes.
David Letterman is in nothing. He doesn't do anything except he did his show for 30 years, 32 years, something like that. I love David Letterman. I love him. Him. He is the best.
He's your man crush.
For real, I love him. He's so funny. The way he changed over years is always engaging. After his heart attack, he became a little bit more serious and grumpy, but it always felt authentic to me. Mm-hmm. Like he suffered no fools.
Right.
And in the very early days of Letterman, Chris Elliott was a writer on the show, and I think he even started out maybe that as a page or something. Just this nerdy little goofy looking guy.
Yeah, because he is the most unhandsome looking fellow in the world.
He's an ugly bastard.
Like he looks like a wet rat.
He does. That's pretty good. Pretty good description. Yes. But I love Chris Elliott because he represents that time on the Letterman show, and just a lot of the things he's done to me have been very funny. Cabin Boy was a massive flop. I don't know if you remember that movie from the mid-90s, yes. But it was funny. It was his, and Letterman was in that, oddly enough, too. I think Letterman really loves Chris Elliott. Towards the end of the last, like, maybe year of the show, when everyone knew Letterman was winding down, he would have all these people on, and they kind of praise him a lot and say, hey, I'm so honored to be here. And Letterman's always, pushing his hand off, saying, nah, come on. But I almost teared up when Chris Elliott, when I knew it was his last show. Chris Elliott came out and he sang to Dave in a funny manner. But the history that those two have really drew me to want to watch this show, and I was not disappointed. I think in the early days he was the man under the bleachers or something like that, or the guy under the we're talking early mid '80s here, so this is a while back. Enough about that. Enough gushing. I'm sorry.
It's okay. You, as co-captain. Mm-hmm. You wear the C on your lapel. Mm-hmm. You have the right. Sometimes if you want to let out some emotions, you can. It's fine.
Everyone gets one good cry. I think I've chosen right.
Okay, well, you're going to use it on David Letterman.
Yeah,
kind of like I did that with Paul F. Tompkins not too long ago.
Yeah, I just hope my daughter doesn't die, because then I'll have blown my crying on David Letterman. Anyway, Action Family. It appeared as a one-off special on Cinemax in 1986.
Cinemax is what we used to call it in the old days.
You're right. Definitely back then, because it probably started in the 80s. Right? And that when you're talking, Cinemax, what an odd choice to put on Cinemax, too, Like, it seems like such a weird fit.
Well, I think back in that time, they had money to spend. They were just starting out. They had money to get shows, and I'm sure the three major networks, even Chris, after for writing for Letterman and being around, he knows nobody's gonna pick this up.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
nobody's gonna even give me the chance. So that's why ship it off to HBO, ship it off to Cinemax. Think of it as like how Netflix is now. They're grabbing up all kinds of people who have creative stuff and putting it out themselves.
Yeah, that's a great place to be.
I'm sorry about that wooden seat here in the plane.
The creaking? Yeah, I know. We got to do something about the wooden seats in the plane. I don't know. I don't know if this was meant as a one-off spinoff or a one-off special, because it was like the late 80s and the early 90s when those paid cable stations really started developing their own content. Mm-hmm. There wasn't a lot of it. Today there's a ton of that kind of stuff. But back then, I do feel like it was probably trying to be a sitcom for the Cinemax. Yeah. And still, you're talking paid cable channels. I think a lot about there's probably breasts hanging out there, or a lot of cursing, and there wasn't any of that in this show.
No, this one was like what they would have played at 6 or 7 o'clock, because it was 10 o'clock is when my mom would turn the key on the box. That's how bad they seriously the original they had a key on the cable box, and that's where you couldn't watch any HBO.
Locked it down. I like that though. I am always a fan. Like I like a good R comedy, but anytime a comedy is forced, and even if you force yourself, and maybe that's what Chris Elliott did here, to put limits on what you're allowed to do, to me that breeds creativity.
Sure.
When some people's like, no, I want complete freedom. But there is a difference between doing what you want to do and trying to work within something. And to me, I feel like that's maybe, if you probably had free will to do whatever you want on Cinemax, but they chose not to have gratuitous violence and gratuitous nudity.
Sure.
So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Action Family features also a cameo by Elliott's father, comedian Bob Elliott, of the comedy duo Bob and Ray. Which do you know Bob and Ray?
No, I knew that was his dad because his dad like plays a cameo on a lot of stuff that he has, obviously.
Yep.
But I didn't know about the comedy duo.
Okay. I didn't. I knew that his dad was part of something, but I'm not familiar with it.
He's a hot dog guy, right?
He was the hot dog guy. Yep. And the last piece of interesting facts, and again, you decide for yourself, this was released, while it did come out in 1986, there must have been such a cry for it to be seen because it was released on VHS in 1995, and it also included a one-man show that Chris Elliott did about FDR, which I cannot imagine what that would be like.
Yeah.
He's got a very specific sense of humor.
Sure.
So let's talk about the show.
Sure.
Let's look at our notes.
Okay. I will. Well, that's one of the things. If you want to donate to the show, the jet fuel alone is expensive.
It's not cheap.
Yeah. We're covering it.
It's not free.
We're covering it, right?
For now.
Blood diamonds. That's all I can say about that.
Yep.
But paper. We take endless amounts of notes. You have a whole notebook.
I have a notebook.
I have a notepad, and I mean all the ink that we use. So if you want to donate $4 or $5,
that helps. Helps keep our closets full of notepads and pens.
Right.
The intro. What would you like in this intro to?
The Brady Bunch. It was very Brady Bunch-esque.
Very much so. Dun 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 dun.
I put it as a Brady Bunch meets Starsky and Hutch. Because it wasn't just like the beginning of the theme was the Brady Bunch kind of look, but then it shifted over and it was very Starsky and Hutch-esque.
They had they cut in like splices from like action movies, just stuff that had nothing to do with their show necessarily, and like characters. Like they had to do close up of characters' faces that have nothing to do with the show. This is to me it is. I really like intelligent absurdist humor. Mm-hmm. That's what I like, and I felt like this is right up that.
Right, they took their time to put little things in there that you'd have to watch it 2 or 3 times to really get.
I don't usually watch these more than once, and I didn't watch this one more, but I am toying with the idea of watching it. I really, spoiler alert, I really enjoyed this one a lot. One of the lines in the theme song is, "If crime is a cancer, then blow it away."
Your notes are a lot better than mine.
A note that I made, kind of a meta note, is I could not write fast enough. There are so many things on this show that I wanted to mention and enjoy that I just could not write fast enough. Do you have any thoughts besides the Brady Bunch on the intro?
No, that's a Brady Bunch and Starsky and Hutch. That's pretty much what I had.
Starts off like an 80s action film, like kind of had that like bluesy saxophone sounds, kind of like a Lethal Weapon, like early Lethal Weapons. Delightfully racist, I would say, at parts too.
Yeah, it wasn't like Black Bart where it was just
blatant
racist joke. Like these were like fun-filled ones.
The first thing he does is he gets out of his car and he's got like this wig on, like a permed wig, and he's got like these big plaid blazer on.
Right, and the tie with the big huge knots.
Massive. He walks around the front like he's going to work. He's a private detective. And he goes around front and he sees this guy, this homeless dude on the street whose name is No Brain.
No Brain.
And he's a black dude. And
jazz musician.
That's right. And he says, "Hey, what's up, Chris? How you doing today?" And he says, "Let me stop you right there." He says, "This is what I heard you say. Good morning, Chris." Blah, 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 blah. And I was like, it is so, like, to me that is moderately racist, but it's so funny to me.
Right.
What an asshole he's being to this dude. Oh, boy. And then maybe my favorite line in the whole show, he says, "Here's a quarter. Why don't you go to college, buddy?
Why don't you go to college, buddy? And he flipped in the quarter, like every good private eye does.
What the hell does that mean? Why don't you go to college, buddy?
It doesn't mean anything. That's why it's funny.
I clearly enjoy this much more than you did. I'm sorry.
No.
Oh,
but
boy.
This is your wheelhouse. Like, this show is your wheelhouse. So I'm kind of stepping back because I know the enjoyment you're getting at. I enjoyed it, but I know that you enjoyed. I mean, you probably got 7 pages there.
A couple episodes back, I was like, we've got some good stuff coming up. I'm not going to spoil it. And I'm glad I didn't, because who knows? Maybe they would have taken Action Family off of YouTube, too.
Right.
So, but this is definitely, I have another one in mind, but this one is one I was like, I know I'm going to like this. I went in with high expectations, which I never do for these shows.
No. It's kind of like the expectation that women have having sex with us. Very low, very minimal, and occasionally they come out going,
While that is true, and you're shining some light on a subject I don't care, it's not going to kill my mood with this show.
Oh, okay.
So this is a street musician named No Brain, and he's carrying, everywhere he goes, he carries a giant cello. Isn't that what that is? Or like a bass?
A stand-up bass, yeah.
A stand-up bass. Just a massive bass. So Chris is a private detective. He goes to work. He spends a few seconds in his stand-up, like UV tanning bed.
Yeah, it was like a stand-up. I'd never seen one like that. It was a stand-up tanning bed. It was just like a real long light.
Yeah.
Turned side to side.
I had never seen anything like that. When I first watched the first 5 minutes of it, like a month or two ago, I hadn't seen anything like that. Since then, I'm a big fat guy, so I joined a gym, and now they have stand-up tanning beds at the gym. I don't use them, but there's stand-up tanning beds.
They don't have those at my gym.
You need to get them.
You have a water slide at your gym?
They have a water slide. No, they don't.
At mine they do.
Well,
went down the other day, hurt my back.
Ooh, boy, that sounds like IBWIP material to me.
Yeah. An $800 a day.
What's that?
Private eye.
That's right. That's how much he costs. Because he's asking, hey, there's a bunch of jazz musicians being killed. I'm kind of worried about this. Can you look into it? He's like, you can't afford me. And he says $800 a day, and the dude says, how much is that in quarters?
Right, because
he gives them quarters all the time.
Go back to college.
10 seconds later, No Brain.
Bam, bam.
Gone. Someone put him right through his base, too. He's like laid out inside of his base.
And it was funny because, like, what I noticed through this whole thing was every time there was gunfire, it was different sounding gunfire. Like it wasn't the same, like, sound effect that they used for the gun.
There was a gun there. There was a gun where he was, like, laying down shooting at the hot dog guy, and a gun at the end.
Yeah,
right?
And they were all different sounding, and they were all just...
All from the same gun?
And, like it would go bang, and then you'd see his hand move. It was, it was blatantly like, these are not real guns.
So he goes down there, he sees it's his buddy No Brain, and he finds a red feather on the body. And
he was heartbroken.
He was. It tore him up. Like, he may not have respected him or cared about him. He even kind of smirked at the fact that No Brain considered him his best friend.
Right. He's like, whatever.
But he is mourning for sure. So he finds a red feather on the body, looks like an earring or something.
Yeah, the old feather earrings that they had in the 70s.
That's right. Everyone dressing like Native Americans back then, i.e. Sonny and Cher.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Sonny. Cher's
just close.
Hanging by a thread. So he looks to the side and he sees someone with a jumpsuit running down the alley. It's like, oh, that's the killer. To me, why don't you go chase him? I don't know. I don't know why he didn't do that.
He was like, well, in every other 70s cop show, they would have chased after him.
Big chase scene, a lot of dumpster action, knocking over trash cans.
Jumping over car hoods.
A lot of parkour stuff, yeah.
Hardcore parkour. No, he just says, well, that's probably the guy. I'm going
to... transitions, because we're talking about this it's a lot like an action film or an action TV show from the 80s, and now he goes home. It's raining outside. He walks up to his door, he grabs his newspaper, he opens the door, and when he goes inside, all of a sudden, it's a different show.
Yep.
It's a sitcom, a classic.
Laugh track. As soon as he opens the door, laugh track.
And then then he goes back outside for a second, and it transitions back. And then he goes back into the house, and it's, again, the laugh track. And it's a relentless laugh track, too.
Oh, yeah, it's basically just on all the time.
This is great, too, because it's like some of the shows that we've watched previously, it's that relentless of a laugh track, but here they're doing it ironically.
Sure.
And it's funny that it makes it funny, but it absolutely does.
A fact is that you don't like the laugh track. Another fact is, in this case, you do because it's done ironically.
That's exactly right. Well put.
Thank you.
gets home, takes off his wig first of all.
Yeah, like he would normally take off a coat. He just took his wig and put it on the hat stand, and then pulled out a sweater, and like put the sweater on that was like 8 times too big for him.
Transitioning into the family man.
Sure.
Mr.
Rogers.
Exactly. Then his kids come out, and he hands his daughter his gun because it's time for her to clean his gun.
Right.
And then she's very excited to do so, and she runs away with the gun. Then the wife, for a while I was like, this is like he's a single dad. This is like a live-in nanny. That's it. That's his wife.
Right. That's the first thing I thought was, why is she so much older than him?
She's honestly probably mid-50s.
Yeah.
And he at this time in his life is probably 30, 35.
Sure. It was obvious. She wasn't holding her own in that department of like looking young.
Right. There was a definite age difference.
I thought it was his mom.
It's right. See, that's what I thought. Because it's like a live-in relative or nanny or something. But they never address the fact that there's an obvious age difference. That's fine. They sit down for dinner. They call the oldest daughter down. She comes down the stairs, and what is she wearing?
She's wearing 2 black bars, like they put over people's eyes to censor, and that's all she has on.
Completely naked. And to me, I look at her. I was like, first of all, don't tell me her age because I want to believe she's 18.
Sure,
that's okay for me to have the thoughts I'm having. Right. And second of all, she is more appropriately aged for Chris Elliott to be with than the woman that he's with.
Right. And when I saw that, I instantly said, okay, you went up a point.
This is your favorite part of any show that we do, is when the hot girl comes in. You take I'm looking at your notepad right now, and I see a big circle around that part there.
Yep.
So I know that for me, when we go to grade this, whatever you thought of it, it's going to be moved up 1 notch because of this scene.
Exactly.
So she sits down at the table, black bars only. That's all she's wearing, and she says, "You know, I got a date tonight. I'm going out with a guy named Zach to a prison dance."
Yeah, because he just got out of prison. There's our stewardess.
Hello.
She always comes when we get going on the flights. She brings up our drinks and she grabs herself a beer and
relax. We're in the air.
Right, we're in the air now. There's no passengers.
No one can stop us. We can do this. We're in our own private domain.
Right.
So obviously the dad's not happy. Chris Elliott, again, I don't know if I mentioned before, but he plays a guy named Chris Elliott.
Right.
It's like so fourth wall, meta, just acknowledging everything. It's so funny.
And one of the other things that I noticed about the laugh track is, in this segment at least I noticed it was so profound of a laugh track that it had like these 2 guys laughing and having a conversation like they were in the crowd, like, hey, that is funny as shit. Ha, ha, you know.
There's one part where a guy says, uh-oh. I lost my mind. I love this ridiculous humor. Yeah, you're right. Like, there are audience members out there, just like you can pick out specifically them cheering or like a comment they're making is.
At first, I thought it was because the kid was watching a movie while I was watching this, but had the headphones on.
Yeah.
At first, I thought it was the movie, and then I lifted my headphone, and it was. Then that made me think it was even funnier because it made me question myself.
Oh boy, yeah, I had a lot to question after viewing this show.
You know, and I also thought the boyfriend looked like Jesse the Body Ventura. You
know what? That name didn't come into my mind, but I was thinking. Is this a professional wrestler from the 1980s? I kept trying to think, is this a professional? I couldn't picture who it was, but it probably wasn't.
No, it probably wasn't, but it looked like a cross between Bill Goldberg.
I see that, okay.
And Jesse the Body Ventura.
Okay, I can see that for sure. They so that guy comes over, the prison guy, and he sits down on the couch, and he's like, got his hands all over his daughter, pawing at her.
Yeah, if you had a daughter, well, you do have a daughter.
Yeah,
and if she brought home a guy that was just got out of prison,
if she brought home Bill Goldberg, first I'll be like, give me the jackknife powerbomb.
Right, just do it on me.
Yeah, maybe spear me. That was one of his moves. And can I have your autograph? And
wouldn't you ask him for your autograph first? Because if he speared you and you might go unconscious, then you might leave.
Boy, good thought. I didn't think that through at all. Thank you.
Co-pilot. Co-captain.
We watch each other's backs like that, you know? That's just cool pilot
I watch
stuff.
your back, you watch my back. Sometimes I smack your back, you smack my back.
I feel like that's a song. Hands up on your hip. Smack my back and... we'll work on that. We're working on a new theme song anyway.
Sizzle my clit. Sizzle my clit.
Sizzle my clit. So... The guy, he's obviously kind of a thug.
Sure.
They sit down on the couch. Boom. What's that on your ear? The dude's wearing a red feather earring. And Chris notices it. He's like, I'm a private detective. That's my job, to scan the environment, to look for clues.
And then he's like, I'm not gonna say anything yet because I'm a private detective. I know how to keep it cool.
Yep. And so he logs that away in his head. And he says, okay, I'm gonna put that away. I'm gonna file away. We're gonna look into this. And then Zach says he's gonna take Melissa, who is the daughter, to model at the photography club.
It was his buddy's photography club.
I love this. Commercial break. Come back from commercial. Chris Elliott is being spanked by
Abraham Lincoln.
That's right.
I thought to myself, I was like, what did I miss? He was having a dream.
Oh, boy. What
do you think that dream meant?
Whew. Well, honest, Abe, right? Boy, I
have an explanation.
Oh, you have an idea.
Okay, I know exactly why. It's a fact.
Okay, fact me up. Fact me, bro.
This dream was his subconscious telling him the way he talked and treated No Brain was wrong, and because it was racist. And so Abraham Lincoln, who freed a bunch of slaves, was punishing Chris Elliott for doing that.
For not listening to No Brain?
For treating him so poorly and talking down to him.
Wow. You know what?
Hold on.
Yeah, that's true. Top hat blown. Stovepipe hat blown.
Corncob pipe and a button nose blown.
I think after we record tonight, I'm going to go mistreat some minorities to see what kind of dreams I have. Maybe I could talk to. I'll talk to James Garfield even. I don't care which president it is.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Albeit I hate Mondays and love lasagna. I like James Garfield. I think you're right. You must be right about that, because as soon as he wakes up, he's like, I got to get out there. I got to hit the streets. I got to go to the mall, put my finger in some broad's face and give her a kiss and head out.
Right.
It's just such a weird montage of him investigating.
And then the whole time, that funky bass music. The whole time, I loved it. That was one of my favorite parts of the show.
Just that montage of his investigation.
Just the music throughout.
Funky bass. Did it take you back to
Starsky and Hutch?
Oh, I was thinking Baffled when they had that awesome music.
No, it didn't take me back to Baffled.
To Baffled.
Nothing is taking me back to Baffled.
Well, he after this, he goes to the police station. He says, "You guys got to help me. I got a hunch." It's like, "No, you're wrong about this." He's like, how many times have I been right? And they're like 100 times. He's like, "Have I ever been wrong?" No. It's like, "But you're wrong this time." They keep driving that home.
And the cop had red pants on. The reddest pants
I didn't notice.
Oh my God, they were Santa Claus red when he stood up.
Santa red.
So the color's kind of poor quality, obviously,
Yeah.
It's kind of grungy, but I envisioned this guy had a yellow dress shirt on,
Yeah.
The short sleeve dress shirt, yellow one with these red pants. Like his wife had divorced him a long time ago,
boy.
and he had to dress himself. And
so you built this whole backstory for this character.
Oh yeah,
wow, you really do a lot of work.
I try to keep up with as much work as you do, and I can't do it.
You're the unsung hero.
No. I can't take that credit.
The police won't help him. After this, though, there's a very meta phone conversation. He hears the laugh track at the police station. Did you hear this? This happens, I think, twice during the show, where there's conversations between home and the work life, and obviously there are two different tones in the show, but like they overlap in a way like, what's this sound over her?
Right.
Like,
the wife and she was calling his office and was talking to the secretary about his son's appointment.
Right.
School conference.
And there's like a laugh track over there because she can't remember the time versus the room number they're supposed to meet.
That's a joke with her.
Yeah, she's real light or kind of space, like a bit of a space case.
Well, when you're that old, what do you expect?
Oh yeah, things start to deteriorate pretty quickly at that age. So there's like a lot audience laughing at her not remembering, and on the other end, his secretary is like, "What's going on over there? Are you having a party?"
Right? Because so it's like it's like that point where the laugh track again becomes more than just the laugh track,
right? It becomes a part of the show. It's a recognizable almost character. So after this, he goes and gets a hot dog with a character who it's his dad, but not his real dad.
His real dad in real life,
right? So he's gets a hot dog, and it's a very bizarre conversation they have about how to make the hot dog and what it includes. But it turns out he made the hot dog wrong, and they get into this like physical altercation.
Oh yeah, it's right in the middle of the street. There's this big old busting out scene. And if you look really, really closely, now I don't know if you have this written down.
I took this scene for face value, and I really enjoyed these two men going at it.
I love when you say that.
Two men going at it?
Yeah. But at one point, you can tell there's a stunt double. It's a blatantly obvious.
I don't know.
It's a punch to the face, and it's a completely different guy. It is not his dad. It's a completely different guy.
I didn't see that. I think they did a great job of.
No, and I know. No, well, I'm just pointing it out not as a mistake, but they purposely did that because all through this, I don't even know where this is supposed to take place because the shots of the city and stuff are always different. It's not the same city.
You're right. Oh, they purposely do that where there's all these different stock photos.
Sure, yeah.
And stuff.
So that's what I mean. We're talking about little itty bitty things they do, like the crowd guy, the phone conversation. But this too, like he punches his dad, and it's not his dad.
And they do that over and over in that scene. The stunt double, I think, at one point even makes contact with the camera, like looking into it, like saying "screw you."
Right.
You know? But yeah, because obviously his dad is probably at that age in his 60s.
Oh, if not 70, early 70s.
And they're having this altercation that a man that age couldn't have, And so there's a double used, and it's very obvious that the double was him. But then he goes to his car. He takes a couple shots at him. The guy runs away. Yeah. There's no resolution to it at all. The guy runs away with his hot dog cart. He takes a bunch of shots from the ground, which he really should have been able to hit him, I think.
Oh, yeah.
He did not.
No.
And
then he looks at his barrel of his gun like what's wrong with this thing?
Then he goes to his car and he picks up the telephone, which is like a full-sized telephone, which may have been accurate back then. I don't know. Did they have car phones?
No, they didn't have car phones back then. I remember the first car phone that we got. It was in a bag. It was like
called bag phones, really.
Yeah,
right?
And I was in 6th or 7th grade. So, and this is taking place in the 70s.
This is in the 80s. This is late.
This is in the 80s. But I think that in my opinion, it was like those scenes were taking place in kind of a 70s.
What about the sitcom scenes? Do you think those were in the 70s too, or do you think we had some
the
sort
Brady
of
Bunches? 70s.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I did not get that from that. But
pay attention.
I missed the red pants. I missed the obvious nod to the 70s. I just thought they were making fun of modern, but I could be wrong.
Well, they were making fun of, but
I mean, as far as being a specific time frame. Right. Heads in the car. He's going to go to the teacher the meeting with his teacher. His wife's going to be there, and it's over his son, which I think his name was Danny. Pulls up to a stoplight, and who pulls up? David Letterman.
One and only.
And David Letterman is playing David Letterman, and they have a conversation about the show that they're on at the time. Again, another meta scene.
Very much so. And basically, Dave's like ripping on him about, they actually gave you a show? Like,
it's like, this is my Cinemax special. Like, he says it, like, he just blatantly says what they're doing. It's this kind of thing. It's a bizarre show. It reminded me of like, do you remember It's Gary Shandling show?
Mm-hmm.
And that was on like Fox. When Fox was like a new broadcasting, now they're one of the big four, or one of the big five, I guess. But at the time, they were this new channel putting on weird stuff like Married with Children.
Right.
And It's Gary Shandling show. I think it was only around for a season 2, but it was a bizarre show.
Do you remember the theme? This is the theme to Gary show. The theme to Gary show. Gary called me up and asked if I would write his theme song. I'm almost halfway finished. How do you like it so far? This is the theme to Gary Shandling show.
You are on this podcast. You run a lot of this stuff on the show. You don't need frequent flyer points. But if it were up to me, I would give you all of them for knowing that. I cannot believe you know the lyrics to It's Gary Shandling show, let alone remember the show at all. That's pretty impressive. Who now? I can't remember the guy who Newman, Randy Newman. Is that who sang it?
Oh, I don't. There's no way I would remember that.
Randy Newman. he sang "I Love L.A." I think that's his big song, and they did like all the Toy Story movie songs.
Oh, man,
I think it was Randy Newman. Might be worth looking up. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Maybe not. Anyway, that's what this kind of reminds me of: the absurdity and the bizarreness of things like It's Gary Shandling show. Anyway, next they go to the meeting. Some stupid joke is made during the meeting with the teacher and Chris and his wife and this kid. And at one point, like the audience starts laughing, and this is when I lost my mind again.
Right.
Chris like looks towards the audience, but not like at the camera. He like looks in that direction where you think the sound is coming from, and he kind of like smiles and nods, like acknowledging their laugh.
Yes, thank you very much.
And then it continues to grow, and then everyone stands up and takes a bow right there in the classroom.
Somebody throws him some flowers, and he's like, everybody, thank you very much. We do appreciate this. But if you'd please stop so we can finish this scene. We do have a job to do.
Yeah, we got to finish. We got to wrap this up, guys. And so they basically, it turns out the kid's been getting on the wrong bus, something stupid like that. And then once outside, they go outside, and I think it's something about being indoors and outdoors, maybe, because when they go outside, it becomes like his real drama life,
right.
And the wife becomes angry.
Oh,
and she's never been angry.
Right? Yeah, she's like the lovingest wife ever. But you're right. They go outside, and then he has the wig back on.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
And she's like any typical like cop or firefighter's wife or a private detective, scared for her husband's life and on the verge of insanity just because worrying about him.
Absolutely.
And he like almost punches her in the face.
Yeah, there was no up to that.
If he would have punched her, I would have given this a 7.
Oh wow, that's a little domestic abuse goes a long way with the ratings for you. So that was very funny. The fact that the worlds are colliding and people are having to act differently based on what mode they're in or what cliche they're tackling. Anyway,
the discussion about the kids, he was failing all his classes.
Yeah,
but he was a really, really good student. Was really smart. He was failing all his classes because he was getting on the wrong bus and going to us all Spanish.
Yeah, yeah, which was one of the lesser jokes, but still odd. Turns out Zach, who had the police were looking into it, and also his secretary, they're kind of looking at it. It's like Zach, the guy from the prison that took his daughter, has a huge rap sheet, and they found out right now the police have been tailing his daughter because she's been seeing this guy. Like they're home right now. Right, your daughter both of your daughters at home, and he's with that girl right now, and he's like, "That's it, I got to hightail it back to the house."
And they get over there, and they come in, and his daughter is on the couch making out.
Yep,
hardcore making out, Cinemax style.
That's right.
With Zach. Mm-hmm. He turns on the light, but something's different about his daughter.
And he doesn't acknowledge it.
Not at all.
He comes home, and he's kind of like saying, hey, what's happening over here? This guy, he's got a rap sheet a mile long. And she's like, hey, you know what? I'm sorry I've been acting out, but you don't even notice me anymore.
Right. You don't care. I'm not even a part of your life anymore. You don't even notice I'm here.
You don't even notice that I've shaved my head and have a dragon tattoo on my head wrapping around my skull. And she's in a weird outfit too. I was like, that's a weird outfit for making out. She was in a dark jumpsuit.
Yeah, like she had gone to girls' prison.
That's right. Day. And so like he's kind of ratting on this guy, saying, "Hey, what's going on with my daughter here? What are you doing? We got a rap sheet a mile long. These people are showing up dead. These jazz musicians are dead. And I see this feather in your ear. I'm holding the other one right here."
Right.
And it's like, oh, Melissa, your dad found your earring that you thought you lost.
And that's when her eyes click, right when he says that.
Yep.
Her eyes click, and she's like, yep, you know what, Dad?
Oddly enough, a British woman appears out of nowhere and spells it out for the audience.
Sitting in a couch that's not even the same background or scene.
Yep.
It was like all of a sudden we went to a British version of All in the Family.
That's exactly right. If you can picture that, meathead. So she pretty much spells it out. I was like, well, the daughter did it. It's very clear now. The daughter did it. And then it cuts away from her. And for a second, everyone kind of like looks around, like where did that?
Like looks over from where the screen slid over.
Yeah.
They all kind of look that way, like.
Melissa says, "Yes, I am the one who killed everyone. I was just seeking your attention, Dad. If this is the only way I can get a hold of you is by interacting with your business life, because at home you don't pay me any mind."
Right. And he's like, "But why? But why kill all jazz musicians?"
Yeah. And what did she say? It was like an accident, or she didn't mean to?
She's like, "I had no idea." She goes, I was just killing random people.
Yeah. And he's like, you know what? He's very quick to forgive his daughter for murder.
Sure.
And says, you know what? I got to think of my family. There are results, or there are consequences to these actions you've taken. I'm not going to let you take the fall for it. But let's pin it on this guy.
Let's pin it on Zach,
who is, I mean, he's Steve Avery innocent. He's not
yeah.
Oh yeah, he's not a real innocent. He may have not committed that crime, but he's committed some other ones.
He set a cat on fire. Eh?
He lit a cat. He killed that canine.
All that was left was his toes.
So they said, hey, prison Zach, we're gonna blame it on you. And just so it's there's
so we don't get busted out by you narking. We're just going to shoot you
at a point blank range
right through the plate glass window.
Yes,
which is vintage. Any 70s cop show you see, somebody's going through a window.
Well, they're inside the home and everyone's yucking it up with the laugh track. Chris Elliott lifts his gun up and shoots this guy. And he flies through the window, but as he's going out the window, it's the outside feel. It's the dramatic feel outside. So again, it's switched tones.
The laugh track cuts off right when right at the splice of that frame.
And that's pretty much the end.
No, it's not.
Nothing happens after that, and that was the end.
That's incorrect. Because I was looking at the meter of how much time was left. It was wrapped. I was like, oh, maybe they'll show them going back to the school, or maybe they'll go to the precinct or something.
Right.
No, it goes into a full song in Partridge Family style with everybody from the family playing and Chris singing, and with the outfits and everything, straight up Partridge Family.
It was like purple and pink coats. Velour. Yes, thank you.
With ruffles instead of collars.
That was awesome.
I watched the whole. I could have turned it off right there. But I watched the whole thing.
Smart money is you go the distance. Yes, and then who's in the audience? But a lot of the characters from the show,
right?
They're like it's kind of like in this nightclub. There's no real background.
Right.
It's kind of very bizarre way to wrap it up. And then when they're done singing the song, the rolling credits at the end included a lot of stills of people that were never on the show and things that never happened.
Just random stuff, stock footage.
Oh my god! I am going to. I'm really getting a lot of belly laughs. Let me wind down my belly laughs while you guys listen to this quick FCF promo here.
Step right up, step right up. Are you a fan of the macabre? Do you enjoy blood and guts? Does gore get you excited? Is getting scared your thing? Do you like horror movies? Boy, oh boy, do we have the right show for you. S&M Radio is the best horror movie podcast on the web. Shannon and Mark discuss a different horror movie topic each episode. Some episodes are about specific horror movies. Some episodes are about folks involved with horror movies, while others are about top 10 lists of horror movie topics. All with great music from all genres. I should warn you right away, spoiler alert, those two yahoos pretty much give away everything every time. Come one, come all, down to S&M Radio, where nothing is too taboo.
Nothing is too taboo.
In my mind, I think there's probably a few things that are too taboo, but being a fan of the show, can you honestly say nothing is too taboo?
I can say that nothing's too taboo.
Check out S&M Radio. You can click on them through the FCFnetwork.com website. They're part of our family of shows. He releases a show every week, doesn't he?
Every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks.
Yeah. And you got to stay on it because they're kind of whenever they come out, kind of whenever
sporadically. Yeah.
So make sure go over to the FCF link. Always has the links to his Podbean, to his Facebook page, and everything. So he always puts something out when it comes out.
If you like horror movies, check it out. It's a lot of fun. This next segment is going to be very difficult for me.
Please remain seated as we are now crossing a zone of turbulence.
None of these shows exist anymore because they just never made it. That's the whole reason for them being on this show.
Right, they had Turbulence.
They had Turbulence. Why don't you think this show worked, Blake?
I don't know the circumstances, whether they were going to just do a one.
Right.
Because he did say a special Cinemax special. If there was even any idea to make this into a series.
Sure. It may have just been a one-off thing.
But I think if we're talking hypothetically that it was intended to go to series, all these jokes and all this oddness is funny in this one show. I could see where that would get old.
Okay.
As a series, it would get old.
Well, about this time, I think shows started shying away from, we're doing 40 episodes this season of I Love Lucy. Right. And now it's, we're doing 20, 25 episodes. Cable really does usually do between 8 and 13 episodes.
Yeah. Because they're so expensive to make.
Yeah, that's true. Boy, I really, really enjoyed this. But I get why it didn't work. Like like you said, I would like to think that this and all the other shows we did or are watching were meant to be series. But I get why it didn't work. To me, it was about 20 years ahead of its time. There's no place for this show in 1986.
Sure.
There's no place for the show to call a home, to be like, oh, that kind of comedy, I know just what channel to go to for that. To me, this would fit perfectly in modern times on like an Adult Swim.
Yep, Comedy Central.
If you did like a 15-minute version of this show, it could be good. Or maybe a late night Comedy Central thing. Now, Chris Elliott did have a show that ran for a few years called Eagleheart. I think it had like Brett Gelman was in it. Yeah. And that ran for like 4 or 5 seasons. Yeah. I never saw it. And I'm sure it's available to be seen out there, but I don't have cable. And if it's not on Netflix, I don't watch it. I would like to see Eagleheart. I assume a lot of his style of humor is in that as well.
And I remember watching some of those episodes, and they were it was just the blatant odd stuff, just like this. It was like this, but it was like a Texas Ranger kind of.
Oh right, it was a knockoff of like
Walker Texas Ranger. Yeah. So it had the same core comedic eye,
parodying this.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yes. To me, this show was about 20 years too early, and you're right. If they were going to do a lot of episodes, which I can't imagine there'd be a ton per season, it would probably wear a little thin.
Sure.
As far as what I would do to improve it, I can't answer that question. To me, this is just so funny. I'm biased towards liking Chris Elliott to begin with, so I don't think there's a lot of things that they could have done to improve it to have kept it on air.
Right. I completely agree with you. Well, I co-agree with you.
Right down the middle, 50-50. If it had survived, where do you think this show could have gone?
I can really only see it as this one-off kind of oddity. He would see if it kept going, he would just be a private investigator, and he would just every episode there would be some weird situation that happens, and then there'd be an episode about his son on the other half of it. You know what I mean? So,
sure.
And his wife and stuff like that. So
I would like to see. I think this show is one of those ones where every episode you hit reset.
Yep.
To where like if in the next episode like No Brain is back in it, and there's no mention that he's dead or anything. Right. And they may acknowledge things from the past, but there's no real consequences. Sure. It's just a constant parodying of these things. They really packed in a lot of funny, and maybe it was meant to be a one-off thing. So it was like, let's just get all the jokes we can in here because we got a lot of good stuff here. But I could see it sustaining I would watch 8 episodes of that a year for sure. I think they could do some really funny stuff, but we'll never get that chance.
Never.
Actually, something we should have put under interesting facts.
Whoa.
No, that's just the name of the segment.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I should have prefaced it a little bit. I should have pumped the prime first. Are you Dan Harmon? He I don't think he created, but he helped. Like he ran the Sarah Silverman project.
Okay,
and he's Community. He did Community. I love Community. I think that show is hilarious. Dan Harmon cites Action Family, Chris Elliott's Action Family, as one of his influences.
Oh wow.
He's I guess he saw this in Cinemax in the 80s or whatever, and just was like, this is it. This is forming my comedic sensibility. Sure. And I really like Dan Harmon, so it's just a testament to what do you like? Who are their influences? And you can keep digging back further and further and say, oh, wow, I can kind of see the origins of these things or see where someone created their own style.
Sure. And as watching this, I could see that this was right in your ballywick.
You knew it.
I knew it.
Oh, I'm so easy.
I was like, this is a co-captain, bottle cap kid. This is in his wheelhouse.
That's right. Let's make our final descent here.
All right, everybody. Seatbelts?
Yeah, put your seatbelts on.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we start our descent, please make sure your seat backs and tray tables are in their full upright position.
We'll be seeing DSJ anytime soon. We'll just see his little yellow hands or orange hands.
How is he both at where we take off and where we land? How does he do that?
I always thought I guess we should have talked about this. I always thought we just went around the air and then came back.
Okay.
I didn't know that we went other places.
I thought we just had like a rope and we attached him to it. And then he just kind of flew through the air. And then we slow down. And when we slow down, he like shoots out in front. You know what I mean? And he kind of gets there.
I thought that was kind of like one of the hidden jokes of our show is, we go back to the same place.
Yes. Okay. That is why. Thanks, DSJ.
DSJ.
Designer Shoe Warehouse.
Nacho Libre.
I was watching that yesterday with my daughter.
Were you?
Yes. This is where we talk about reviews of the show. We'll have our say in a second. But right now, IMDb. What do you think IMDb score was for this?
IMDb score goes from 1 to 10.
It does.
I'm going to say that IMDb said it was a 6.
8.7.
See, I wanted to say 8, but then I figured that people were probably too stupid to get it.
This is one of those shows where you deliberately search it out.
That's true.
Not because you're like, oh, I can't wait to watch this piece of crap. Because you're like, oh, this exists.
Yeah,
I would really like to see this.
Yeah.
And you're already in the mind frame, like I was. Like, you're predisposed to like it.
Sure.
So to me, the score is no surprise. To me, the score is well deserved. Someone gave it. This guy personally gave it 9 stars. Very, very funny. If you like Chris Elliott, which I do. My roommate and I rented this on video about 10 years ago at an indie video store in Minneapolis, and I thought it was a great early nugget showcasing Chris Elliott's annoying but hilarious persona. It surfaces on DVD. If it surfaces on DVD or cable TV, it's worth a spin just for David Letterman's blistering cameo where he busts his balls at a stoplight. There's also delicious lampooning of both British TV and makes fun of the Partridge Family. Plus, there's a dream sequence where President Abe Lincoln spanks a crying Chris Elliott. Let's see. Amazon reviews, 4.6 out of 5. This guy gave it 5 out of 5 stars. He says, I laughed until I felt sick. 3 out of 5 stars. Chris Elliott, a mixed bag, 4 out of 5 stars. Laugh out loud funny. 5 out of 5 stars are not enough. That guy's, I get along with that guy. Mixed bag, funny. Original comedy classic. People like this. And again, these people sought this out specifically to watch it. So the reviews to me are no surprise. And I am in the same vein. I feel very... my thoughts about the show align directly with these people's reviews.
Looked it up on Amazon. They do have the VHS.
Can I guess how much?
Sure.
$20?
$20.
Yes.
And it's a weird cover. I saw this artwork when I Google imaged.
It's like a close up of his face.
It's like a drawing in his tuxedo.
Yeah. Because that what you're looking at also includes that one-man FDR thing, which, again, I would really like. I might Google that later and see if I can find that on YouTube, because that sounds probably equally as funny.
So if anybody wants to purchase this for Bottle Cap Kid for early birthday present.
Yeah, I have a birthday coming up in
October 27th.
9 months. That's exactly right. Very good. I didn't really find any critic reviews. These were all just personal viewer reviews. I did obviously find a couple scores. This makes sense to me.
Yeah, but critics have always been rough on Chris Elliott, I think.
Just like Seth Green, he's never been a leading man. He's never been at the forefront of popular culture. He's just kind of been this cult comedic hero, and again, kind of gliding or drafting off Letterman,
right,
which is fine. If Letterman puts out some proteges, I would absolutely be interested, and he's one of them for sure. Oh boy, I'm scratching at the seams here. Let's rate this, mother.
Ratings.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to FCF Airport. Local time is 11:11, and the temperature is 69 degrees. For your safety and comfort, please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened until the captains turn off the fasten seatbelt sign.
I would hope that we wouldn't have to tell our listeners. There's some hidden jokes in that, too.
Yeah, I mean, every step of the way on this podcast, there's hilarity. Just hidden nuggets like red Santa pants.
Right.
1 out of 7. 1 being the worst, 7 being the best. Rate it.
Well, there was a naked chick in it.
Yeah.
Bars or no bars, I could.
You could work with it.
And I did have to think to myself, for the lower part, do you think she had hair? It was in the 80s, yeah.
Her left arm at one point, I saw some strap.
Well, yeah, she had
So she was wearing something.
Sure. Well, yeah, she was wearing something. That would have just been those little kids around. That would have been.
Do I think there was hair down there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
This is an 86.
Then I'm going to give it a 6.
Wow, that is very high.
A 6.
Helen Chapel Hackett.
Yep.
That's high. I thought you would have said 5.
I'm 5 with the 1 up. I had to go 1 up. I thought it was a 5, but I had to go 1 up because of the nakedness.
Yeah. And to me, there's no secret here. I am giving this a perfect score.
Whoa!
This to me is the gold standard of pilots that never made it. This is a number 7 for me. I don't know if we'll ever reach these heights again.
Wow.
I will watch this again. I got a call from Biermansky earlier. He said, "Hey, we should hang out today." I was like, "Well, you know what? You called me. I'm right in the middle of watching Action Family with Chris Elliott. I'm not joking. You have to watch this. You have to. I'm already word of mouthing this. I don't get paid for that.
No, not at all.
This is by which it's this on the high end and Tribe on the low end for me.
There you go.
And that everything else will fit in the middle somewhere.
Sounds delicious. Congratulations on your first 7.
Thank you very much. I should. You know what? I should be congratulated on that. Thank you. That's it for this show. We're not done though here. Please join us next time when we watch the pilot episode of Adventures in Babysitting. Here's a little something to wet your whistle.
Sometimes you know what you're looking for. Sometimes you don't make it out the door. Now that I found you, hold on tight. Never gonna let you out of my sight. I just can't stop trying to get hold of you, baby.
Yeah, Adventures in Babysitting. I've got a lot to talk about with that show. You can find that entire episode by subscribing to our show or clicking on the blue link in our show notes. Or you can go to YouTube and just search Adventures in Babysitting Pilot. You got to throw Pilot on there because obviously that was a movie from the 80s, right. And this was a spinoff from that. So throw the word Pilot on there or a TV show, and you'll find it. You'll find it.
Yep. It's not difficult. I mean, the easiest place, the best place to go is the show notes and our blue link because you know it's safe. You can trust in us that our blue links are the best blue links possible.
Blue links in general are the safest links. Sure. Just plain Jane, bar none. You know, that's it. You know, blue links are good. We go extra step. We run it through Norton Antivirus.
Yes, and
so ours are certified blue links.
Certifiable.
So, am I right?
Yes.
Talk to DSJ about that. Do you want to comment on what I just said? Do you want to comment on DSJ? Send us an email at COUCHPILOTSPODCAST@gmail.com.
Yeah, and this is where on the show notes, the original show notes that are written. Mm-hmm. I don't know how they get formatted different when it goes out, but the email address is a red link.
Oh, is it? Oh, that's okay.
That's the red link.
It still is?
Yes.
Okay, we might. I'm a little iffy about that.
Really?
Okay, we'll talk off air about that. To me, you're going to contact us on COUCHPILOTSPODCAST@gmail.com. You're going to send us questions. You're going to comment, suggestions on shows we could watch in the future. You could send us other things, too. You could send us your, like what cologne or perfume you prefer.
Right.
You could send us your shoe size or the shoe size of your wife's best friend. You know, whatever you want. What other things would you have them send us?
I could use a new jock strap.
Sure.
I'm thinking, now that I'm going to the gym, I think it's imperative that I wear that.
Things move around.
Sure. They could send us cardboard cutouts of themselves.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great. I like that
because then we could just line them up, and it would feel more like we're doing this for an audience.
Or at least like we could line them up in rows of 2, like if they're on a plane.
Yes, yeah,
that'd be
like
great.
Seat A and Seat B. We can make a whole model out of it and just get in and do the podcast.
It's a fine line of us being up in the air alone doing this show, kind of a cold cab, just an empty cab back there. But then you fill it with people, you kind of get that warm feeling. But then you gotta kind of like listen to all the people bitch and stuff. So it's like, what do you want?
But then the more people you have, the more meaningful your journey means to you. You know what I mean? Yeah, we could just go around in circles and come back and meet DSJ.
Yeah.
And without any passengers or listeners, what does it mean? What does it all mean?
Right. It's all for naught if we can't have people enjoying it. So you're absolutely right. Go to fcfnetwork.com. Enjoy all the great shows. We got 7 shows total. I think we got 4 or 5 of them that come out every single week. Constant content. It's all free. It's all fun stuff, all different subjects. Check it out, fcfnetwork.com. Anything else you want to drop? Any more knowledge you want to drop here?
Frequent flyer points. You know, we're always tallying those. So the more you interact with the show, the more frequent flyer points you get.
I agree. For me, I don't think this was a rough pilot, but some might say it was. So some might say this exact thing. This pilot may have been rough, but it's always a smooth flight here on Couch Pilots. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next time.
See you later, buddy. Hey, take care.
Hey, you take care, too.
No, you take care.
No, you take care.
Couch Pilots and the entire crew, we'd like to thank you for joining us on this trip, and we are looking forward to seeing you on board again in the near future. Have a nice day.
This has been a Fakakta Comedy Funhouse production, produced by Jason Tosher, executive produced by Blake Clayton. For more information and content, go to fcfnetwork.com.